was more than just a man. He was a symbol, an ideal. He was the living promise that good will always stand against evil and that the selfless will always rise to defend the helpless. Steve Rogers, Captain America, was the absolute moral compass for the Avengers, the steady hand that guided them through their darkest hours. His sacrifice defined a generation of heroes, and his return to the past to live out the life he was denied. Well, it was a bittersweet but perfect ending. We watched him grow old, content, and pass the shield to a worthy successor, closing the book on the Sentinel of Liberty. But what if the man who came back wasn't the one who left? The multiverse is a fractured mirror, showing us infinite and often terrifying reflections of the heroes we trust. What if from one of those dark reflections, a different Steve Rogers stepped through? Not a hero, not a symbol of freedom, but a weapon forged in the shadows, loyal to the very evil he was meant to fight. What if a Steve Rogers returned who answered not to the Avengers but to Hydra? Imagine the reunion. It's everything they dreamed of, a temporal anomaly, a ripple in space-time, and suddenly he's there. Not old and frail, but in his prime. The super soldier serum is singing in his veins and the iconic shield is glinting on his arm. Steve Rogers is back. There are tears, hugs, and a disbelieving joy that spreads to the Avengers compound like wildfire. Bucky's smile is wider than it's been in a decade. Sam Wilson, our new Captain America, feels a wave of relief so profound it almost brings him to his knees. The original is back. The leader has returned. But as Steve pulls back from a hug with Sam, his eyes, those famously kind and determined eyes, hold a coldness that nobody notices. It's a flicker of something calculating, ancient, and utterly ruthless. As he looks at the assembled heroes, the most powerful beings on the planet, he doesn't see friends. He sees targets. He sees obstacles. And in the quiet corners of his mind, a single chilling thought echoes. Let the Empire begin. The official story they sell everyone. It's a paradox, a temporal echo. The Steve Rogers who went back to Peggy created a branch timeline, which is now, through some cosmic hiccup, merged back with the main one. It's a theory Tony Stark, if he was still here, would have loved to pick apart. Bruce Banner and the new generation of thinkers do their best, but honestly, no one really cares about the how. They only care about the who. Steve is back, and the world just feels safer. He fits back in seamlessly. He's the same Steve, only better, sharper. His strategic mind, always amazing, now operates on a level that leaves everyone in awe. He anticipates threats before they even happen, diffuses international crises with a single perfectly timed move, and rebuilds global security with an efficiency that is both breathtaking and a little unsettling. He just tells them it's the benefit of perspective, of seeing our modern problems with the wisdom of a long life. The Avengers, blinded by trust and nostalgia, buy it completely. But this isn't their Steve. He comes from a reality where Hydra's victory wasn't a what if, it was history. A world where the Red Skull didn't just seek power, but actually used a cosmic cube to rewrite Steve's own past. In this timeline, a young, idealistic Steve Rogers was never recruited by the good guys. Instead, he was indoctrinated by Hydra from childhood, a sleeper agent hiding in plain sight, believing with every fiber of his being that true peace could only be achieved through absolute order, an order that only Hydra could provide. And let's be clear, this isn't another Winter Soldier. He's not brainwashed. He's a true believer. His charisma is real. His desire for a better world is genuine. But his definition of better was forged in the fires of fascism. He sees a chaotic world, and he knows he has the will and the strategy to fix it. His plan isn't about brute force. That was Red Skull's mistake. His plan is quiet, precise. It's about dismantling the world's defenses from the inside, starting with its greatest champions, the Avengers. The first sign is so subtle it's almost missed. A mission against AIM goes flawlessly, maybe too flawlessly. Steve, in command, coordinates the team with inhuman precision. He sends Hulk on a path that not only smashes the main target, but also accidentally cuts a deep space communications relay, a relay vital for Captain Marvel. He positions War Machine to disable an enemy reactor, but the resulting EMP just so happens to wipe the servers at a SWRD outpost, erasing data on multiversal threats. When they ask him about it, Steve is the picture of remorse. "My fault," he says, his brow furrowed. "I got too aggressive, pushed you all too hard." "It won't happen again." Sam Wilson claps him on the shoulder. "Don't sweat it, Steve. We won. That's what matters." But later, alone in his workshop, Sam reviews the mission logs. He replays the comms, studies the energy signatures, and traces the lines of attack. It was perfect, a tactical masterpiece. Every single accident was a domino falling exactly as it should to achieve a hidden objective. And that sends a cold spike of dread right through his heart. He knows only one man could have planned it that way. The man standing right next to him. But why? This Hydra Supreme begins his real work by identifying the pillars of the Avengers and planning how to remove them. He knows their strengths, but more importantly, he knows their weaknesses. He won't fight them, he'll let them defeat themselves. His first true target? Not a Hulk, but the man inside, Bruce Banner. Steve approaches Bruce as a friend, talking about the burden of power, the curse of the monster within him. He earns Bruce's trust, telling him fabricated stories from his long life about moments he almost lost control. Then he presents a solution, a project to channel the Hulk's gamma energy into a clean, limitless power source for the world. Bruce, seduced by the idea of finally using his curse for ultimate good, dives in headfirst. He isolates himself in a new lab, designed and secured by Steve himself. Bruce doesn't know the technology is based on Hydra science, designed not to channel his power, but to siphon it, to drain him slowly, and convert that energy into a weapon only Steve will control. Next up, Thor. The god of thunder is powerful, but his heart is his biggest vulnerability. He's a king burdened by loss. Steve approaches him with respect, creating a fake crisis on a distant world, a supposed haven for Asgardian refugees now under threat. The intel looks perfect. Thor, desperate to protect the last of his people, prepares for the journey. Steve gives him a modified Bifrost key, claiming it's enhanced with Stark tech for a stable trip. In reality, it's a trap. It won't take Thor to a refugee colony. It'll take him to a dead galaxy, a cosmic void from which escape, even for God, could take centuries. "Be safe, my friend," Steve says, as the rainbow bridge engulfs Thor, the perfect mask of friendship, hiding his cold satisfaction. With the heavy hitters gone, he turns his attention to the heart of the team, Sam and Bucky. To break the Avengers, he must first break them. He creates two sets of fake evidence. For Sam, he creates evidence suggesting a new Winter Soldier program is active in Wakanda, preying on Bucky's deepest fears. "I need you to handle this, Sam," Steve says gravely. Quietly, I don't want to spook Bucky. At the same time, he goes to Bucky. He shows him different files that suggest Sam is secretly meeting with criminals to get a new super soldier serum, maybe feeling inadequate now that the real Captain America is back. "I'm sure it's nothing," Steve tells Bucky with fake concern, "but go and make sure he's okay." The trap is set. Sam and Bucky both arrive in Wakanda looking for two different things and find each other. The confrontation is tense and confused. Sam thinks Bucky's been compromised. Bucky thinks Sam is cutting a deal. Their argument, fueled by doubt planted by Steve, escalates. It doesn't come to blows. Their bond is too strong for that, but it shatters their trust. The foundation of the new Avengers is cracked, and the architect of its destruction watches from afar, his plan working perfectly. Under Steve Rogers' guidance, the world is becoming safer. Crime rates are plummeting. Global conflicts are snuffed out before they can start. The planetary defense network he built, powered by a weakening Bruce Banner, is a technological marvel. People celebrate it. They call it the Pax Rogers, the Rogers Peace. They see a hero. They don't see the cage being built around them. Control Titans. With the Avengers fractured, Steve pushes for the registration of all enhanced individuals. It's presented as a public safety measure, but it's really a tool for control. Heroes who refuse are branded as threats. Public opinion, expertly manipulated by Steve, turns against them. But suspicion starts to grow. Sam Wilson, now alienated from Bucky, starts connecting the dots. The comms relay. Thor's sudden silence. The way political turmoil always seems to benefit Steve. On their own, each event is believable, but together, they form a cold, calculated pattern. Sam tries to talk to others, but who would believe him? Accusing Steve Rogers is like accusing the sun of not rising. He goes to Maria Hill, a pragmatist who has her own doubts. The New World Order is too perfect, too clean. It reminds her of SHILD's old Hydra problem. Order at the cost of freedom. The truth is a physical blow. Sam secretly investigates and finds the refugee colony Thor was sent to is just a black hole. He discovers Bruce Banner's lab is a prison, an energy siphon. He finds the doctored intel that turned him and Bucky against each other. This isn't their Steve. He's a monster wearing the face of their greatest hero. This all leads to a confrontation, not of fists, but of ideals. Sam, armed with the truth, confronts Steve in the main hall of the Avengers compound, now a sterile command center for Steve's global security force. Who are you? Sam demands, his voice shaking with anger and grief. Steve doesn't even deny it. The time for games is over. He just smiles, a thin, cold smile that doesn't reach his eyes. I'm the man who won the war, he says. I brought the peace you all talked about, but we're too weak, too sentimental to achieve. He points to the screen showing a world without conflict. Look at it, Sam. It's beautiful, it's orderly, it's safe. This is what humanity has always wanted, not freedom. Freedom is the freedom to fail, to fall into chaos. They crave security, and I gave it to them. You built a prison, Sam shoots back. You call this peace? It's control, it's fear, it's survival, Steve retorts, his voice a low, intense whisper. I saw a universe of gods and monsters that would tear this world apart. Your way, the way of endless debate, was a guaranteed path to extinction. My way ensures our future, Hydra's way. He says the word Hydra not as a curse, but as a creed. And in that moment, the full horror of the situation becomes clear. This isn't just an evil version of Steve. He's a zealot. He genuinely believes his fascist ideology is for the greater good. Just as Sam stands his ground, the doors to the hall slide open. Bucky walks in, his face a storm of conflict. He's heard everything. He looks from Sam, his brother-in-arms, to Steve, the ghost of his hero. It's time to pick a side, Sergeant Barnes, Hydra Steve says, his voice confident. Order or chaos, the future or the past. And it all starts with a choice. Bucky Barnes stands in the heart of the command center, the weight of two legacies on his shoulders. Bucky don't, Sam says, his voice low. This isn't Steve. Hydra Steve smirks. He's more Steve than you'll ever be, he tells Sam, before looking back at Bucky. She's gone, Bucky. The world we fought for doesn't exist anymore. It's time to build a new one, together. For a heart-stopping moment, Bucky looks at the imposter. Then he slowly raises his vibranium arm and points it directly at Hydra Steve's chest. I'm with him, Bucky says, his voice raw as he nods towards Sam. Until the end of the line. That stings Hydra Steve more than any punch could. In his world, Bucky was loyal. Seeing this version turn on him is a wound. The smirk vanishes, replaced by cold fury. So be it, he snarls, and the fight is on. What follows isn't just a battle, it's a desperate running war. Sam and Bucky are now fugitives in a world controlled by their former leader. They're being hunted by the very systems designed to protect the planet. They're alone, on the run, with only a handful of underground allies like Maria Hill and Sharon Carter. Their plan is desperate. Free Bruce Banner and broadcast the truth to the world. They managed to break into Bruce's lab prison, but it cost them. Maria Hill sacrifices herself to create the diversion they need to escape with a pale, weakened Bruce. Their final stand is at a global communications hub, the nerve center of Steve's propaganda machine. Here they face the full force of his controlled assets. Battered and exhausted, Sam and Bucky fight back to back against impossible odds. But as they fight, they get the message out. It's not just evidence, it's a plea from Sam, his face broadcast across the globe. I know what you see, he says, his voice strained. You see Captain America, a hero who brought you peace, but you need to look closer. Look at the price of that peace. The heroes who have vanished, the freedoms you've given up. That isn't peace, it's surrender. The real Steve Rogers, the man who gave me this shield, he never would have asked you to surrender your freedom for your safety. He would have told you to fight for both. As the message spreads, something shifts. Seeds of doubt are sown. Enraged, Hydra Steve descends to face them himself. The final fight is a brutal, heart-wrenching mirror match. Sam Wilson as Captain America against the man who created the mantle. It's a fight Sam can't win with strength. Hydra Steve is stronger, more ruthless. He shatters Sam's wings and beats him down, picking up the shield. "This never belonged to you," he snarls, raising it for a killing blow. But Sam on his knees looks up with pity. "You're right," he gasps. "It doesn't belong to me, and it doesn't belong to you either. It belongs to the idea, and you're just a cheap copy." The words hit their mark. Hydra Steve hesitates. In that instant, Bucky makes his move, firing a grenade launcher at a critical joint in the communications tower. The tower groans and begins to fall. In that moment of distraction, Sam tackles Hydra Steve, sending them both plunging off the platform as the structure collapses around them. The victory, if you can even call it that, is bittersweet and costly. Hydra Steve is presumed dead. The world is in chaos, its faith in heroes shattered. Bruce is recovering, Thor is lost, and the Avengers are in ruins. Sam survives, saved by Bucky. They save the world, but it feels more broken than ever. The final scene is just Sam and Bucky in a quiet room. The shield rests on a table between them, scratched and dented. "What do we do now?" Bucky asks. Sam looks at the shield, at its impossible weight. He thinks of the true Steve who gave it to him, and the monster who tried to steal its meaning. He knows the world doesn't just need a symbol anymore. It needs someone to rebuild the trust that was broken. "We get to work," Sam says, his voice quiet but firm. He puts his hand on the shield, not as a soldier, but as a guardian. The war is over, but the fight for the soul of Captain America and the world he inspired has only just begun. The idea of a hero turning evil is one of the most terrifying ideas in fiction. The Secret Empire storyline in the comics was huge and controversial for a reason. So what do you guys think? Is this dark, twisted version of Steve Rogers a compelling villain, or does it just betray the character? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. And if you enjoy exploring these dark what-if scenarios, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. When you boil it all down, this story isn't just about an evil Captain America. It's about symbols. It shows how the brightest light can cast the darkest shadow, and how trust, once broken, is the hardest thing to rebuild. It's a reminder that being a hero isn't an identity, it's a choice you make every single day. The real measure of a hero isn't their power, but their will to stand for what's right, even when the symbol for what's right has been turned against them. Sam and Bucky are left with a mission to prove that the idea of Captain America is stronger than any one person. The shield may be scarred, but what it stands for endures. And that, maybe, is a victory in itself.